quickly clip my nails.
All right.
Going.
Let me get this positioned. Where is that? Right about there. Ah, come on, you. I was hoping that would work better if I flip it. Well, I suppose people can just hopefully tolerate that. All right, let's see this mini. It's got the black bar.
Oh, where's the...
So just go stand over there and take a look. You'll see that it's kind of got... It's somehow catching...
What happens if you do it like...
I did that already. Started that way.
Oh, it's better.
Mm-hmm. Well, if it's better, we'll take it.
Yeah. You still see it, but it's less.
Yeah, hopefully the phone won't fall. All right, stop moving around so much.
Okay.
I want it right there. All right. Next, people get to watch me kind of set up tonight because it's like, why not, huh?
Yeah.
About right there. I like to use tape to mark the edges of what can be seen so I know where to stay in camera. And this side is about, it looks like pretty good over there. About right there. Yeah, I can move a little further. All right. So here's our range right about here. My hands still be seen right. Yeah, so I actually makes a line all the way over there. Okay. Super glue in case we break anything. Brushes. I'm gonna go get the wet palette ready.
All right, I'm gonna post this in my community tab.
Okay. I've never painted minis before, on camera before, so I'm kind of looking forward to this. Oh, that's why it's funny. It's supposed to be parchment paper, not the stuff that happens. I was like, what is up with this? The paper towel just doesn't feel right. Thankfully, Tia doesn't mind at all if I use some of her parchment paper.
That's good.
Anyone watching yet?
I'll check. Not yet.
There we go. All right. That is way too close. All people will be able to see with it right there is the it's back to just a little bit more. There, that gives us just a little bit more range. All right, where did you put your book down? Over here?
No, you put my book down there.
So I brought this one in case you needed some inspiration.
Got it.
And then I was quickly gonna flip through here. Imperial Fist, where are you? Not Ultramarines. I was gonna paint my other character tonight from that game that I got to play in that one time. Ultramarines. Vehicle markings. Oh, the Ultramarines. The ones in front in this copy of the book. Looks like it. Okay. Ultramarine successor chapters. No Black Templars. Not what I'm looking for at the moment. Iron Hands. Salamanders. I'm pretty sure what I'm after is a Dark Angels successor chapter. It's not in here. Oh, you know what? I can just look it up. Shall I get some paint in there so you can start painting?
Oh, sure.
You want to tell me, you planning to paint, prime that one tonight?
Yeah, I'm just gonna prime that one.
Here's the priming brush.
What was I doing?
So you need to stay inside,
Right.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, so what were we thinking? Jeez. Oh yeah, don't forget to set up the laptop so you can see the chat.
I won't. I was going to do that in a moment. I'm not going to bust out any gesso tonight. Blue. Yeah, so for anyone who may be wondering, who sees this now or later, I just use normal acrylics at the moment. And I use a wet palette so that I can thin them down as much as I need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, forget that.
Tonight I'm going to try out what is called the chop shop method for the first time. It seems to be taking the miniature painting world by storm right now, and I want to see if it's all it's cracked up to be.
The best you can do it with the resources you have available to you.
Yeah. Yes. I do not have contrast paints, so I'm definitely having to do the best I can.
A little bit of titanium white.
Okay, then.
Yeah, all those should be mine. I thought before I started painting, I could tell people about the different minis there. Was there something else I was
do you have any water to dip in?
Water. You want to go grab some? Water dish is right there on the counter. Sure.
I guess I'll just put it next to the camera. It's field of view.
Perfect.
Put this down here just in case.
Now where am I connected to? Because it is acting really slow.
There, that should work.
That one? I'll mute this so that we don't have any competing sound. Perfect, screen's up. I appear to not have a functional chat. Either that or just no one said nothing yet.
If you scroll, yeah, I guess you need to change the whatchamacallit.
Oh, there it is. Perfect, we're good.
Okay.
Pop out chat. Right, you want to tell them about that figure?
Oh, this one is a 3D printed model, and just a preface, I am not going to be playing this one. This is a purely artistic piece.
Yeah, we got a 3D printer that I may already have to order a new FEP sheet due to some leveling education issues. But we've been toying around with printing some new things. These are all official models. I'm building an army, and I want to use actual official models for those. And then I'm planning to do like an 11th Legion custom one, and I'm probably going to 3D print all of those. Maybe like take some of the models into ZBrush and tweak them and kind of customize them because they won't exist the way I actually want them. But I'm starting a Black Templars army, and then a Death Watch one. I'll primarily be doing Death Watch, but I wanted to start Black Templar because I've always wanted one. So I was able to get like a nice about 70 minis for Black Templars for like 130 off eBay, just from different sources. One of them was really nice. It was like 50 units. It made me happy. This one is not a Black Templar, but it is the one that I'm going to be doing first tonight. So I will tell, I want to, before I start painting, I kind of want to give a little background on some of these people standing here. I'll start with this one. This one is my oldest boy. He painted that, and that is his Death Marine. The only thing I did on that one is I painted the shoulders for him. Rather, he painted them blue, and then I cleaned them up and put the letter D on them.
Could you pass the paper towels?
Yes. But he called this his Death Marine. He wants to do his own chapter called the Death Marines. Zeke, my oldest is Samuel. My name is Samuel. Zeke is my next one. He painted this one. I forget the name that he came up with this one. I think it was the Blood Sons or something like that. And then I painted the emblems on the shoulders again. But he was really pleased with this one. My third child made this one, and he's simply known as like the Metal Knight or the Metal Man as the name of the chapter. But he's not very old. He's only 5, and so he did his best. This is actually the first one I ever painted. First Warhammer mini I ever painted. I haven't done too many minis in general. But it's a Death Watch member. His name is, I probably won't pronounce it right, but Fadgar. And he's supposed to come from the Space Wolves. And I try to come up with fun little like backstories for all the characters and such. This one is probably the most special one to me. This is I just realized the camera's right over here, so. This is my Emperor's Champion that I made when, about 10 years ago, I got into a Death Watch, one of the Fantasy Flight role-playing games. I can't see yours all the way over there.
Oh, sorry.
And
there we go.
I started out as a Black Templar who was sent to the Death Watch. He was a Black Templar sniper. And my DM told me that, yeah, I think the chapter might just be a little bit ashamed of you because you're... he wasn't being mean. He was very, very playful in the way that he said it. But being a sniper is very Black Templar. And so he's like, they kind of got rid of you by sending you to the Death Watch. And so we're out adventuring, and we were in some kind of drop shuttle, and it was me and like four other players, but there were 5 Marines because I was running 2 characters. Well, I don't normally run 2 characters, but we needed some heavy artillery, and so no one else wanted to run a second character, so I did it, which will bring me to this guy in a little bit. But I believe this guy's name was Achilles, or however it's pronounced, the Roman name. And anyways, we're in the drop pod, and my brother has to step away for a moment. And so we fall and we hit a Necron pylon, which fills our minds with like visions as a result of like. Admit I'm still not super familiar with the Necrons and the technology, but there's a psionic backlash, and everyone else doesn't do great on their rolls, but I get like a critical success on mine. And so I'm having like a vision of the Emperor. The next thing I know, I am being clad in armor and given the black sword and crowned the Emperor's champion. And I don't know if the Death Watch normally has an Emperor's champion, but I served as our Emperor's champion. I had a black. They told me I had a black sword. My DM gave me stats for it. This mess here, I actually tried to make a black sword out of clay, and it didn't go well. And so I have since called it the Cudgel of Faith. It is for impressing the word of the Emperor upon beings who are resistant to the word of the Emperor. So yeah, don't stand in front of the cudgel when he's singing it, or you'll be impressed with the word of the Emperor upon you, metaphorically speaking, and somewhat physically. But he's a member of the Death Watch as well. I got this guy recently because I really, really wanted one for a long time, but an actual black Templar Emperor's champion. Just after this guy, I just kind of had a special place in my heart for Emperor's champion, and so I really, really wanted one. And so now I've got my original Emperor's champion and my new one for my Black Templar army. But tonight I have this guy and this guy. And this guy is kind of another shot at this guy, even though he's missing some of the robes and things. This guy, he's one of the Dark Angel's successor chapters. I forget which one. I'm going to look that up here in a moment before I start painting. But we had a Dark Angel in our group who knew about, what was it, my lore needs lore. Lionel Johnston, and then Luther, I believe was his name, and the Fallen and like the Traitors. And so this guy from the successor chapter did not know about that, but the other guy in our group did. And so we're on one of the missions somewhere, and during one of our gameplay sessions, and we come across someone who's a member of the Fallen or something. And I remember because you know the Dark Angels kind of, you may not know, but if you're familiar with Warhammer 40k and the Dark Angels, you'll know that Dark Angels kind of drop everything to go chase the Fallen. But knowing that my character's from a successor chapter, well, this one, the other character in our group was like, hey, you need to know about this because we need to take care of this right now. Don't tell the others in our group. And so those two characters kind of went off and took care of that Fallen guy. And somehow the others got roped in as well, and then sworn like an oath of secrecy that they wouldn't talk about it. But that was a lot of fun. And so I thought, since I've already painted this guy, then I would like to paint the other guy. This guy, a much simpler concept of character. His name is Mort. He cannot hold his liquor for anything. And in fact, in one of the game sessions, we were at a bar, and I remember the other Dark Angels just like downing shot after shot after shot. One shot in, this guy's like, you guys want to hear something about our history that you probably don't know nothing of. And the other Dark Angel just like drops everything he's doing. Like, I think it's time for you to go to bed, and goes and locks this guy in his room until he wakes up the next morning. But I had a lot of fun with that one. So let's see. Dark Angel successor chapters. Let's see. I cannot remember. If I can't figure it out, I'll just paint this guy up as a Dark Angel. If I was to go back and do it over again, I would probably have just played him as a Dark Angel. What if I add Death Watch into this? RPG. Let's see. Don't know. What would this guy's name actually be? Or not name, but name of the chapter. I'll just paint him up as a Dark Angel. Or you know, I might just paint him up as I always imagined him. Even something about the name Mort just always invoked a specific vision of him in my head. And so I think I will just paint him up that way. Let's see. I'm going to start with this brush. Let's get a little bit of brown going. Let's see. Come on, red, let go. My red paint is really stubborn for some reason. Get a little bit more yellow in there because that's too dark. I usually just use red, yellow, and blue and then mix most of my colors. It's a habit I picked up from college where I had to mix all my professors that I had at the time were like, you guys are going to mix all your paints so that you know exactly how to get the colors that you want. So sometimes it goes well, other times it goes less well. That'll work. You know what, I think I want that to be a little bit more on the orange side. So let's drop a little bit more yellow in that, and then just a little bit more red. About that. That's a little better. Let's see. Thin this down just a little. It's a little thicker than I would like at the moment. Apologize if I burp at some point. We had tacos tonight, and yeah. So I know I have a nice pile of brushes here. That is from just having brushes for painting before I started painting Warhammer figures. Like I said, this is my, I haven't been painting Warhammer minis for very long. The couple that I showed you earlier were my number 1 and number 2. This is number 3. But I found that the paints that I had worked fairly decent for this already. And so I just kept using them. The big challenge is I'm primarily an impressionistic oil painter when I paint. And so I'm wanting to like paint these guys up all impressionistic. So sometimes my details are a little, they may not look exactly like you'd expect from a Warhammer figure. My colors are not always like pure one or the other. And I'll have like little bits of one color and another because that's how I do it when I
have returned.
in painting otherwise. Welcome back. Let me make a little space for you.
Thank you. Now.
I couldn't figure out his chapter, and so I just decided to paint him up the way I always imagined him.
Got it.
I always imagined him in this brown armor.
Makes sense.
Mort always makes me think of Mort from the Penguins of Madagascar.
Yeah, the little lemur that follows King Julian around.
Yeah, and so I named this guy Mort, and so that's what comes to mind. And well, he's brown, and so I always imagine my guy just being brown as well. All right, priming that, you're gonna prime some up first before you start digging into...
Yes, I'm gonna prime all the ones that need priming first, and then I'm gonna really go at it with that one that was already primed before I got started.
That sounds like a good plan. Sorry. Let me put the paint over here. I was trying to make it easier to, it's kind of hard to know where to put it. What if I slide these back and get the lettuce out of the way from dinner, and we can push these marines back, and I'll put the paint right there. That looks like it's nice and out of the way, but you and I can still see it.
Yeah.
Look, getting little bits of red in here. I like the way it looks to have the little extra bits of color. It's hard to remember to rotate this so that I can at least kind of have what I'm working on visible in the camera.
Yeah. That's another nice and primed. Now the last one.
I'm really glad that, like, even though this paint goes on a little globby, sometimes when it dries, it adheres down really well.
Yeah.
It conforms to the shape. Oops.
You're fine.
No, I almost dropped my
Oh, got it.
My guy. I am not the best at holding on to these little guys. They tend to go flying all over the place sometimes. I thought about just painting him up as a Dark Angel, because that would have been the... He was a successor chapter to the Dark Angels.
Got it.
But I was like, no, I'll just paint him up how I was imagining. Mort, the Lemur chapter.
Primarch King Julian.
Not, the Primarch would have still been...
Oh, right. Who, I guess, what was that other position that was still high up?
It varies from chapter to chapter. They have different names for it.
Got it.
Like in the Black Templars, it's the High Marshal, and I forget what it is in the other ones. But yeah, it varies. Each chapter kind of has their own culture.
Right.
And their own naming conventions for roles.
Oh, that's all. Now for this guy. I got this guy already primed.
Yeah, I gave him to that one and it was already primed. Why don't you tell him what your plan is?
My plan is for a salamander. I'm gonna paint him up all nice and green.
He's been learning about the different chapters and legions and decided he wants to have a salamander army.
Yep, better believe it.
It's a little too much red right there. Let's knock that down a little bit. Spread it around anyways.
Let's see, I guess. Thankfully, green is an easy color to mix. Just pull that away from there.
I was telling him about my impressionistic tendencies.
Yeah, it definitely lends well to his style of doing things.
See, look at this brown leg. Like it still reads as brown, but you can see all that red in there as well.
Yeah.
I just love it. It'll be like Christmas for me here in a moment because you're in the light. So once you're out of the light, I'll see like all these little reds that I'm actually putting in.
It almost tempts me to stay in longer, but
No,
yeah, I know I'm not. I fully intend to give you your light because I need to sit down and work on mine.
How perfectly do you want that mixed up?
I think this is about as good as I want it.
So I would clean the brush real good before you, just because if you start painting, so I'd clean the brush now because you got it all caked up all the way at the brush.
Okay. Just wanted to save as much as I could.
Fair enough. Yes, you see like the little, it's brown, right? But if you get up close to it, you can see so much red and yellow in there.
Yeah. Okay, it's time to get take this for a spin.
This being the color?
Yes. Okay, let's quickly look at the reference. Okay.
I'm gonna have to clean up some of the edges on this later.
Yeah. Oh, I just remembered I wasn't gonna do green right away, but what the heck, I've already started. I'll at least do the helmet like this.
Gotta be careful not to mess my brushes up when I'm doing this, because I keep hitting little bits of like figurine here and there, and it makes a bristle fly this way and a bristle fly that way.
Got it.
Another nice thing about being slightly impressionistic with this is the way sometimes the different colors will sit down into the little grooves differently.
Yeah.
So it adds a little bit of depth to it without having to get crazy later on. Alright, I'm going to mix just a little bit more red for the helmet. So I want it to pop out just a little more. That is too much red.
Okay, I'm gonna let this dry as is. Then I'm gonna, despite.
Man, you put that on thick.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna
See,
try and
look
thin
how
that out.
thin I'm going with mine.
Yeah, wasn't trying to go that thick initially, but yeah, still trying to get the hang of this. I'll try and wipe the excess off.
So here, watch. When I do it, I'll start with a clean brush. So I take the tip, I just kind of pull it a little like that, and then I just kind of smear that around.
Got it. Just clean off.
Rather than glomming it on, you want to kind of build it up with a few layers over a little bit of time.
Right. Just cleaning off. all the
Joseph is
glom.
not super accustomed to, neither one of us is, but accustomed to painting models. My only saving grace is that I'm accustomed to painting.
Yeah. I tried watercoloring at one point, but I didn't stick with it long enough to get the hang of it.
That would have been a good one for understanding layers and knowing how to build up. We got our friend Hollow on. Is it Hollow You Bell?
Yep, Hollow You Bell.
No,
Yeah, greetings there, Hollow You Bell. Nice to see you over here. Okay.
Yeah, so this is, I don't know what this guy's chapter is, but his name is Mort. When I was playing that game that I was telling you about last night, the Deathwatch one, with my Emperor's Champion character, who is this guy, by the way. This is the first model I ever painted, first Warhammer 1. It's not the greatest in the world, but I really like it. He's a space wolf. Anyways, this guy was my Emperor's Champion from that game. I tried to make a black sword out of this, and it didn't go well.
Yeah, question.
I see it. I'll answer in a moment.
Oh, sorry.
So I turned it into a cudgel. I call it the cudgel of faith, I believe. And so he uses the cudgel to forcefully impress the word of the emperor into otherwise unwilling combatants. And yeah, just have a lot of fun with that character. To answer your question, I am planning to do one Black Templar tonight And whatever this guy is, he's a successor chapter for the Dark Angels, but I could not remember which one that I played as, but I always imagined him as being brown, because his name is Mort, after Mort from Penguins of Madagascar, and he's just like a little brown lemur. And so I'm going to paint him up brown. Thanks. Yeah, we were having a lot of fun. So this guy, I have no idea what chapter. This is going to be my brother's salamander, and then afterwards I'm going to do this guy up as a Black Templar.
Okay.
This is the third Warhammer mini I have ever painted.
Yeah, this is my first.
You shouldn't have to blow on them too much. This paint will dry really fast.
I know, it's just there was a little too much water on some spots.
Got it.
But yeah, I'm hoping to try the slop chop method if I'm getting the name right, but I started with the green too soon, so now that he's done, I'm gonna get started on that right away. Okay.
So I come from a oil painting background. I paint in like more impressionistic oil paintings, and so trying to keep the colors, I guess you could say, pure is a big challenge for me, because when you know how they always say don't mix the paint, or like mix your colors and contaminate things like that when you're learning how to mess with paints. That's not what you do with impressionistic oil painting. You mix the paint, and you mix it very unthorough, so that you have like bursts of different kind of color coming through. And so that's how I'm used to mixing paint. And so my Space Marines almost come out more like an impressionistic painting. They have little bursts of color inside the other color, just because that's how I learned to do oil painting. So these are my impressionistic Space Marines. Thanks, I'm glad you like them. I'm just gonna put like a gentle coat of this kind of brownish color on most of the figure, not too much on the backpack, so that I get a little bit of extra texture coming through there. Like getting some more of the black coming through. I wasn't planning on painting tonight, but then my brother was like, hey, do you want to do something tonight? And I was like, yeah, how does painting sound? It's like, that sounds good. So
yeah.
Here we are.
I was in the middle of my Fate Grand Order stream, and I was wanting to talk to him, but he came to me before I came to him, so it just felt very fortuitous.
Yeah, our my boys had some friends over for dinner, and it was getting a little loud, and I just needed to step away from them. It's like, I'll go talk to Joseph. For those who don't know, rather than calling him Chancy Chio on my channel, I just call him by his name.
Yeah, I prefer to be called Chancy Chio on my channel, but on his channel I make an exception.
Older brother prerogative.
Exactly.
So if you just gently coat it like this, you can actually keep a lot of those black interiors.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
Put that there, let it dry.
I think accidentally putting the green on first is yielding some interesting results.
Well, you get a nice base layer, so when you start going over top of it with other things, you'll get that green coming through.
Right. The slop chop method, I'd heard about it for days and days, especially as we are getting back into Warhammer 40k again, seriously for the first time. I kept hearing about the slop chop method, so today I finally was like, all right, I'm going to just type it into YouTube and see what this is all about. And I see why it's taking the painting
scene.
Yes, thank you. The mini painting scene by storm. It's just It's quite something.
Quick and effective. Not my thing at all.
Yeah. I heard it's mainly good for it's mainly good for if you need to build a lot of army pieces and you don't have time to be super detailed with every single one of them. But I can see like people who use it could like have all the main army pieces done with that method and have their favorite pieces done meticulously by hand.
I prefer just to do all of them meticulous, and that's going to be a big problem for me going forward.
Yeah.
I'm glad I was able to buy some of the Black Templars I got off eBay or pre-painted. Yeah, older brother prerogative is a real thing.
All right.
But yeah, some of the Black Templars I got were pre-painted, and I was happy with that because they're painted very, very flat, very simple. There's like no details painted in them. I was like, oh, this is perfect. I don't have to do any of the base painting on those, and I can just go straight for the details.
All right. Now for this. Technically, it's supposed to be the third layer, but with me, it's the fourth layer because I accidentally did that green.
I'm trying to go for like a rusty look. I think it's coming through. Can I move that a little closer? Hopefully the light isn't so bad. But yeah, I was trying to go for a bit of a rusty look on the backpack. It's not the best lit area in the world. We've just got like the kitchen chandelier up here, and so we're trying to make do with that until I'm able to get like a proper light for this kind of stuff. I'm gonna take just a little bit of a wetter pet paint and hit some of these crevices so it'll seep in.
Periodically clean the brush to make sure I don't ruin the brush.
Thank you, because I don't want to have to buy any more brushes if I don't have to.
Understandable.
All right, almost time to start hitting this with a little extra detail. What do you think? Should I make the Imperialis gold or, well, he's all brown, so maybe silver.
Yeah, I would do that first, and if it doesn't work out, you can go with a different color.
Maybe white.
I can see that working.
This brown is a little bit of black with red, yellow, and then just a little bit of blue. And then I used a little bit of white if I need to brighten it up. So primarily black, essentially make orange, and then you add black to the orange to turn it brown.
Yeah, we're not using model paints, we're using typical acrylic paints.
Yeah, rather than buying a bunch of model paint, I just have a bunch of, I was telling you last night, I'm an illustrator. And so I just have a bunch of like standard acrylic paint. And so what I do is I use a wet palette, and then I just water them down so that I get more of a consistency that'll work for this kind of model painting. And it's worked pretty good so far, and every time I do it, it gets a little bit better. I've been trying it out on some of the Warhammer minis, but then I've got some just other Dungeons and Dragons ones that I have been doing that, practicing on as well, so that when I get to the Warhammer ones, I'm a little bit better prepared for that. All right, let's see. I'm gonna get a little bit more brown into some of these crevices, because before I start painting the Imperialis, I'd like to have some of the colors behind it, because it's harder to go back and repair the places as opposed to just having them painted the way you want first. You know, I'm going to go ahead and hit the Imperialis with some of this brown as well, because it'll come through whatever I put and give a nice little texture to it. I need to start looking into painting the models before I glue them together.
Yeah.
Just because when I get to the gun and it's like, you got so much of that figure just hidden behind the gun, it's kind of a pain to try to get down in there to paint that. But I guess no one's going to be seeing that part of the model anyways. It just bothers me a little bit to be like, oh, I got part of my model not painted. think one thing I'm going to toy around tonight with a little bit of edge lighting, because I haven't done much with that yet. All right, Mort, can we get that part of your armor? Okay, there we go, getting some of that in there.
I'm liking the way this is coming out so far. Definitely seeing why people like this method.
Yeah, my problem is my illustration, I usually go pretty quick, but when I oil paint, it's all about going like slow, just so that I take my time thinking through everything. Every brush stroke is intentional. So I get onto these and my mind's like, I don't know if I should be using my illustration mentality or my oil painting mentality. And so it turns out I'm leaning more into the oil painting mentality for these guys. And then his gun is already black. I always imagined it as just this like big black weapon. In the game, he actually had, it's not the exact weapon he had in the game that we were playing. He had like one of those double-handed ones, like the more canny. And yeah, whole area behind the weapon just gives me trouble. This guy actually, his fell off at one point, and so I finished painting him, and then I glued his arm back on afterwards. Because I could actually reach the space underneath. It's like, I know people aren't going to be seeing it, but it matters to me.
And he's just about ready for the greens. Now, the challenge I'm facing with that was.
I need to look up gunmetal, because I don't know how I'm not familiar with it as a color, so I wouldn't be able to mix it just yet.
I'm actually familiar with gunmetal because I follow a lot of toy reviews and toy manufacturing details online, and gunmetal comes up a whole lot.
It was more that in order, like I can mix a paint if I see it, but if I haven't seen it yet, I don't know how to mix it, so I'll have to look it up at some point.
A lot of Transformers toys use gunmetal.
I think the main reason I don't is it tends to have like little bits of metal in the paint, right? And so
that would make sense.
And so I don't have like, I can't mix that. All right, but I will mix up a nice dark, almost black gray right here.
All right.
Since it's already largely painted black.
All right. The challenge I face with the slop chop method right now is we don't have any contrast paint, so I need to thin these acrylics in a way that'll behave like contrast paint. So that's going to be a challenge in and of itself.
It's not too bad.
Oh, really?
So what you do is you just kind of smear it out like it is here, and then just get just a tad bit of water like that, and then just put it in like that. Boom, thin.
Oh, okay.
The key is not to use too much water.
Not too much. Yeah.
And I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on model painting, but
Yeah.
I at least know a little bit about painting, so.
Yeah. Let's do what we can with what we have.
Okay, that gray is too dark. I think I'm going to use a little more contrast on this weapon than I might have otherwise.
Okay.
I'll save the Imperialis for later. I want to
Here goes. Okay, let's see how well this works. I'll do it on the leg here so it doesn't so if something doesn't go.
Yeah, that's not a bad gray. I think that'll work. I don't know if you can actually see that or not, but I won't do the whole gun gray. I think I'm just gonna do bits and pieces of it like that. This guy's actually got something wrapped around his wrist with a chain attached to it.
I see an issue with this approach. It's kind of peeling away the paint I already put on.
That is because the paint you put on is too thick, and so it can't dry quickly.
Ah, so I should probably just let it sit there for
let yours sit for a minute. You can prime one of your other ones or something while you wait on that to dry.
Well,
see how my layers are super thin? They dry almost instantly.
Got it. Well, these have been sitting here after I started the stream priming them, so they're probably ready to go.
See, I just hit this chain a little bit because it's already primed black. This is definitely not something I came up with. I watched some how to paint Space Marine videos, and they talked about black underpaintings, and so I'm not sure what I'm gonna use for the trim on the pauldrons just yet. I might use the same silver. Silver and black seems like a nice silver, black and brown seems like a nice enough color scheme. At the moment, they just look black because I just painted around them. Drop my brush. Real-time painting, ain't no hiding mistakes.
Nope.
This guy's coming out better than I expected. Let's do that. Because I've been struggling so much with painting these guys. Then I like how the chain's coming along. I wish I could zoom in a little more on these.
Yeah. Eventually we'll have better streaming equipment and we'll be able to zoom in as much as we'd like.
Yeah, tonight's streaming setup is sitting at the kitchen table with my phone on just some kind of little phone holder. And yeah. See, I messed up my hand there a little bit. See if I can clean some of that paint off. Come on, paper towel, don't fail me now. That actually worked pretty good. Okay. Get a little bit more gray. Careful now. Yeah, I think I'll just do the pauldrons gray. I think I want to make my gray just a little darker though. Well, I'm glad you like it. He's going to be the only one I have with this color scheme. I always really liked this one as well. I liked playing my other character more, but I always liked this one's physical appearance more. Oh, he's got a Templar gun. That's fine. We'll work around it. All right, let's hit some of this stuff up here. Oh, that chain goes down in the back. I didn't realize that chain goes all the way around. Let's see if I can gently hit this purity seal right here. All right, he's coming along pretty nicely. You can always try it on one. If you don't like it, just paint over it. The nice thing is it's a dark paint. It's dark paint. And so if you decide to paint over it, you could just use it as a base for the next thing that you paint over it. You wouldn't even have to re-prime it or anything. Benefit to a dark color scheme. One nice thing about these, I've never used like the actual model paints, but one thing I really like about the way I handle acrylics is I get to the dry brushing stage really fast with the way that they start drying on my brushes. So like at the moment, like I'll show it to you in just a second, but I'm dry brushing over the Imperialis with just a light silver. Oh, I just loosened up some of the paint that was in there. Cool. I don't know if you can see the Imperialis, but there's that. Way to cover the light.
Oh, sorry about
You're
that.
all right. All right, now to do these pauldrons. Saw a cat.
Ah.
She looked at me funny.
Yeah, there's a cat in the house.
Sometimes the cat and I have staring contests. I win 2/3 of the time, and I'm proud of that. Okay. Man, the pauldrons, it's so hard to keep these lines from getting messed up. I always do the outside edge last because so if you're going to do desert color, this would work great because you'd have the, so I always paint dark to light, almost always. And so whether you covered that with like a kind of a deserty color or even a blue or like an Egyptian metallic gold, this would make a great dark undertone for those colors, any one of those colors, honestly. You get little bits of this just popping right through with that. There's the edges of one pauldron. Whew. That's a taxing mental exercise. I need to put him down for a second while I mentally prepare to do the other side. I actually really like how he's turning out.
Yeah. Oh, my first good look at him. He's coming out real well.
I just had to mess up on the other two characters a lot first so that I had a better idea of what I was doing with this one.
That's how it works with art.
You're not wrong. This pauldron has a brighter gray. Was not intended, but that's all right. I'll just mix in a little bit. Make that just a little darker. Give me just a second. I'll move my hand.
You're fine.
out of the way.
I'm patient.
It's still really. You know what? I'll just add a little edge highlighting to this other side. Boom. Balanced out. All right, let's finish up this pauldron. Come on, self, don't freak out. It's just a pauldron.
Definitely be happy when I have my pointing tool.
I think if you learn to smooth your paints out a little more, those will come along a lot nicer.
Yeah, that seems like a good assessment.
There's a piece of fuzz or something on my marine. Get off of there. Where'd you even come from?
Maybe the cat.
And she hasn't been climbing on the Space Marine.
I guess that's true. I do notice fuzz tends to fly around in this place.
You're saying my house is fuzzy?
If possible.
Easily one of the, pauldron trims, no joke. Definitely eat it easy. One of the easiest to be one of the hardest parts of the whole painting job. Easily one of the hardest parts. I could not think of that rather normal statement for nothing. All right, pauldron trims done. Got a little over in one corner, but yeah, well, that's already dry. It's all right. It's on the back of his arm. It'll be fine. I think he's coming along pretty nice. All right, what do I want to do on him next? Might as well spec the eyes in while I'm at it. I think brush would be best for that. This brush would have been best, except the tip is a little curved on it, which makes great for pauldrons. So I don't know, is this visible at all? Don't think so. There's a slight curve on the end of that tip, And so it works really well for doing things like pauldrons, because you can take the little rounded edge and just kind of turn it and use that little rounded edge on the pauldrons, rather than trying to hit it with the tip of the brush. But then if I need bigger areas, I can still use that brush for that too. Okay, let's try to hit those eyes with just a nice pure red. Mort's not a super complex color schemes.
For a moment, I almost automatically said, "Mort's a color?"
Mort does not have a super complex color scheme.
Right.
Hey, got the eyes first try. That doesn't always happen, but I'll take it. All right, purity seal time. It's a labor of love.
Yeah, we love what we do.
Just painting in general.
Yeah.
Any kind of painting is a labor of love.
Yeah. Bob. Channeling the spirit of Bob Ross there.
I believe every day's a good day when you paint. Yeah, eyes are... This is the first time I've ever got the eyes in the first shot, so... They're a little dark though, so I think I'm gonna brighten them up a little bit. Take a little bit of this white, mix it in just a little bit of that red. Nope, too pink.
Make it blue.
I'm not painting the eyes blue.
Yes, just evoked a certain image to mind.
Space Marine eyes are red.
Right.
Maybe just a slight hint of that pink actually. And a little bit more red to it. Realistically, it would be a little bit of a highlight in that color.
That one is definitely ready once he's done drawing.
Don't think those eyes. I keep putting them out here to like show the camera, but it's like so far. I can count, thankfully, because I've only done so few Space Marines. I don't know if you can see those eyes at all. I'll take some nice pictures of it later and share those on the community tab.
Not a bad idea. I should do the same when I'm on my end.
So while I have a moment, I might as well talk about, because I had mentioned I was going to start working on my own Grimdark-esque story. I say Grimdark-esque because like pure Grimdark is a very bleak, very hopeless universe without really any kind of light or hope for the future. And so I have a character who kind of represents that hope. And so I want to keep that. Anyways, I I had the random thought one day, what if I used like succubi or incubus and made them into just a succubi race, and they're kind of demons plaguing the universe. They're not physical beings exactly in this world that I'm carving, and instead they thanks, I really like how this is um, coming along. One of the groups and the guys in the Death Watch was a Black Templar, which was my other character, and so I thought maybe one day he gave Mort like a chain. He's like, if you want to be a real man, you have to wield a gun like this. Mort's like, yeah, I'm always up to be manlier or something like that. Anyway, so in this story that I'm working on, the succubi are almost more like ghost creatures, and everyone has their own succubi that they unwillingly bond with as they go through trials that they face in life. And the succubus feeds off of your negative emotions, but also your negative experiences. And so they kind of are like the dark angel over your shoulder, kind of guiding you to do things that you may not otherwise do. And then when you screw up, they feast off that energy. And so my character, I have Asperger's syndrome, so does Joseph here.
Yes.
And
little known fact about me.
I thought that it might make for an interesting way to kind of explain some of the struggles that you face specifically with like sensory overload. And so the succubus that would be following around the main character for the main story would constantly be trying to sensory overload the main character so that she could feed off of his pain. I messed up a little bit right there. Oh well. It's amazing how much better you get after just painting just a few of these things.
Yeah. One would think it'd take years and years of practice.
Well, I'm sure it does take years and years. I just had the years and years of practice painting other things.
Ah.
I'll show this pauldron here in a second. Now I'm going to mix up a little bit of paint for the purity seals, because they've got a little paper thing on the front, and so I want to actually paint those up. So I'll take some of that brown I made earlier, add a little bit of white to it, and then just a very, very, very slight amount of yellow. And that will hopefully give me kind of a tired paper look. And then I'll hit this thing on the shoulder with that as well. So in this, the story is going to in some ways kind of be like my love letter to Warhammer 40k, because I've got two versions of the universe, technically one, but one takes place like 500 years, 600 years in the future, and then the other place is like 20,000 years in the future after that. So that I have different times to tell different stories, because I'm not just planning to tell a story about one character. My goal is to create a universe I can tell a story in, and then build a war game around it so that other people can also tell stories in that universe. I just had the thought one day, well, if I'm going to build a universe, it'd be fun to share it with other people. All right, there's how those purity seals are looking. Thanks. Yeah, I really hope that someday it'll take off and I'll be able to just have a game that I share with other people. All right, I think I need to get a little bit of edge highlighting on Mort's armor. So I need to start.
How's this guy looking?
That's looking a lot better now that you're kind of smoothing out the paint.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so that's what I've got at the moment.
Yeah, your paint was just a little rough before, but that's coming along.
Okay.
Oh, you're trying to paint. I'm over here painting one figure and you're painting 4.
That's one of the major benefits of the slop chop method. You can quickly get through a lot. Yeah, so my original plan was just the one figure, but when I finished the steps on that one, I was like, I'm done. I can't just sit here and wait for the paint to dry to continue. And I was like, oh, the paint on the others is dry. I'll do them next.
These are very, very fast drying paints.
Yeah. So this whole, between the paints and the method, it's just working out real well.
I don't normally paint these little skulls on the head, but tonight I felt like painting the skull on his head white. All right. Now, what color to use for edge highlighting?
Oh, cat's having fun.
Maybe a little bit of yellow. It'd be a nice complement to the brown. Then I might throw some dark blue in there just a little later for shadows, but let's get a little bit of edge highlighting in there. Sounds like the cat found a Christmas ornament that was still left over. I'll test this on the back of his foot to see how dark that is. That's not too bad. Take it one step darker. All right, I think I got myself an edge highlighting color. Next question is, what direction do I want the light coming from? Probably this way, since his head's turned that way. Sorry, it's really hard to like hold these guys where I can.
Yeah, I'm struggling keeping him in the camera myself.
That's why I keep stopping and like showing the figure so that people can see.
Ah.
I think that'll work for. It's not super like loud. It's kind of a quiet edge highlighting color. I think it'll work. It's not coming through super good on camera. I think I'll just kick it up just another notch. I think I can get away with pushing that just a little brighter. All right, here goes. Don't fail me now, paints. What do you think?
Oh, that's
Good
pretty
edge
nice.
highlighting color?
Yeah, it's very good.
I only have so much of it though, so I gotta be very selective with where I highlight these edges. This tends to be where painting the models gets away from me. With I start losing control in the edge highlighting.
Yeah. Oh, here's my next one. It's coming out real well. Next. Let's see here. Yeah, I can get back to the one I
Maybe I'll
started
call
on.
this guy's chapter the Rust Templars.
That would be fun. And it's not, and they're not being figurative, it's actual rust.
I mean, it'd be pretty disrespectful to their armor to like let it get all rusty and not take care of it, but they could definitely be an appearance thing.
But
Don't want to get too crazy with the edge highlighting on this guy.
I can definitely tell this one wasn't.
Yeah, his is a salamander.
Can definitely tell I didn't. Was one of these primed when you got it?
One of those?
Yeah. Or did you prime it yourself?
One of them was primed when I got it.
Yeah, I can definitely tell that we didn't prime one of these.
Well, that's because I've got my own priming style.
Exactly, because it feels like the details are lost in places.
I need to get a little water real quick before this dries. There. I decided to edge highlight that whole leg, so it's not really an edge anymore. All right, Mr. Rust Templar, you're almost done, and then I'm going to move on to an actual chapter.
Of which book?
Hardy har har.
My brand of humor right there.
Yeah, they wouldn't really get that from your normal streams, I suppose.
Yeah. So this is also another benefit of me doing a stream like this. People get to see the man behind the gameplay.
And then just a little bit on that shoulder. And then I turn this guy around, finish up his backpack. And this guy is just about done. He's coming along really nice. All right, what to do with the backpack? Honestly, I think I kind of like the fact that it's just a rusty looking backpack that's just brown. So I think just a little bit of highlighting on there. And
here's another one. Yeah. Just gonna have 4 salamanders by the end of this.
yeah, I gave him some salamanders because I I don't have anyone to play with. And so,
Yeah. Yeah, he's, as I mentioned in a previous stream, he's the main,
instigator.
again, he's the main reason I'm getting into Warcraft 40K. Warhammer 40K. But I've always had an interest in it. I just needed that extra push because I have a lot of interests, to say the least. And so I needed someone to help me really get my hooks into 40K.
He says yours are paint job almost looks, or kind of looks more like almost looks like a Son of Horus or an Alpha Legion.
Yeah, some of these are, 3 out of 4 of these are beakies.
Well, that doesn't matter too much, but I think it's more just the way you've got them kind of pre-painted so far.
Oh, yeah.
He's starting to hit it with some pure green now. Have you been looking at your reference material?
Not yet. I'm going to look at it once I really need to get in there with the finer details.
All right, and then just a couple of, I forget what we call them. What do we call them? In illustration, glamour highlights or something like that? I never used the term. But they're just a couple like really bright embellishments to help pull your eyes to a focal point. Just one of those next to the eye. He says his first game he used to watch his friends play, and the first one he watched was a Necron versus Ultramarines. Yeah, I had a friend who was really into it when I was younger, and but we lived like half an hour apart from each other, and so I could never afford the pieces growing up. We've got 8 kids in our family, the one that Joseph and I came from, and neither one of my parents had like formal educations, and so money was not something we had a lot of, and I just never had much of opportunity. But I decided to once I got older, it's like I wonder what I can do to make these different things happen and start chasing these interests I had growing up. And so I started just, looking at career paths and things like that. So trying to figure out just things that would help me be in a better place financially and just be able to do more for my family that I would have someday, which I have now, than my parents were able to do for us. They would have if they could have, they just didn't have the means to do so.
Yeah.
All right. Ward is done. Well, technically. I still need something on the other pauldron, but I have no idea what to put on it at this point, so he's just got a rusty pauldron on that side. And then...
Okay, that's all 4 of them done. I just need to let them dry.
I'll end up writing something on that.
Okay, let's take a look at the reference here.
I would love to be able to get in this game with my dad as well, but I was like, well, now that I'm getting into it, I can at least drag my brother into this as well.
Yeah.
Okay, time to paint up this Templar. He's 95% of the way done because he's already black. I'm gonna go grab my book, Templar book real quick.
Yeah, I'm gonna mix up some paints here for something resembling gold.
That brown that I was using, if you just add just a little bit more yellow to it and a little bit of white, you'll get kind of the goldish color.
All right.
normal soldiers. Silver Imperialis, that one's got the Templar symbol on his chest. No, we'll just go black, white, and silver and take it from there. See what we can figure out. There we go. That's what I was looking for. I think he's got like a newer design for Templars, and so it doesn't fit. The only Black Templar book I have at the moment is this older one.
Okay.
That's fairly gold. Like just a smidge of black to it. Lift your arm real quick. This is the only Black Templar book that I have, this older one. Got a new one coming in the mail, but the Tyranids always remind me of the Zerg from
StarCraft.
yeah, you just turned that black into or you put too much black and turned it into a green.
I noticed like some of where I was pulling had some green on it, so.
All right, here, let me mix that up for you.
Okay.
Let's just drop all that together. Add a little bit of red back in there.
That's pretty impressive to amass that many points.
How many points?
Um,
Well, I'm just mixing the color for you. So
no, I mean in the.
that sounds like a good size army. So Joseph, do you know what the points are?
No, I do not.
Every unit is worth points.
Ah.
And so when you start building your army, you're trying to build a point-based army rather than the number of actual units.
I see.
Okay, so that takes me back to about the brown, where we were before. Now let's take just a very smidge of white. Right, that's going to be about the closest you get to gold with these.
Right. I knew there was perfection wasn't going to happen, but want to at least get as close to.
All right, I'm going to mix up maybe a navy blue. He says his brother was going to start with the custodes, but when they went to the store to get them, they were out.
That's
And his brother was impatient.
funny how that works sometimes. I've had similar experiences with how I got into stuff in the past, and it ended up being my favorite despite what I not planned on.
You know what my
getting.
memory of you and that is?
Oh, what?
Your pink DS.
Oh, yeah.
He went to the store to get a DS back when the DS lights came out, and they were all out of any colors but pink. He's like, it plays games, it'll work, and he took the pink one.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not like I was showing off to friends or anything.
His brother ended up going Black Legion Chaos Space Marines, with them being the next coolest. What I know about Black Legion is awesome, and they do look really cool. I'm using kind of this navy, really dark navy blue to build up some areas where I know that I'm going to have more shadow. When you hit things with, so I don't know, I would guess most people watching don't know much about color theory, aside from what they learned from model painting. But when you hit things with a warm color, like with a warm light, it creates cool shadows. So if you have an orange or a yellow light and you hit it, something with it, it's going to have more of kind of a, what did I say? yellow or orange light, it'll have more of a bluish shadow. If you hit something with a blue light, it'll have more of a reddish brownish shadow, maybe even purple, depending on what kind of blue it is. And so when I'm thinking about places that are going to be in shadow, I'm also thinking about what color light will I potentially be painting as my light source.
Yeah. I'm definitely struggling with painting the Imperialis on these guys because I'll bring in this guy for an example. Because their guns are held really close to their Imperialises, so it's very hard.
Let me see that one. I think you're doing pretty good. You
Oh,
just need a
thank you.
longer tipped brush, or like this one, and just go very slow and gentle with that brush, because so you don't mess up the tip.
All right, I'll just give these a moment to dry before I get on.
I need a little bit of water in this. It's getting
While I'm waiting, I can
I only got a little bit of white in there. That's all right. I'll make it work. Got some crevices in here that I need to. They didn't get primed, and so I'm trying to get those all filled up before I can start painting.
Yeah.
This guy.
Times like these, of either spray paint or a airbrush booth would be nice, but we work with what we have.
An airbrush is on my list of things to get eventually, just not yet, just because I'm getting started with this. I spent my airbrush money on a 3D printer.
Right. We have our priorities set.
I shrunk down a dreadnought and I printed it out, and it printed out with all kinds of problems. And so I was like, cool, now I have a busted dreadnought that I can use for a terrain. Just some kind of battle where Space Marines had already fought, and I'll have like little bits of dreadnought. Because you don't want to spend the money to like buy an actual good dreadnought and tear it up. But failed 3D printed dreadnought, that'll make a great terrain piece. Alright, I think I've got just about got these pieces filled in where I didn't prime this one properly. It was one of those nights where I was just trying to prime a ton of them.
Yeah.
Okay. That'll dry really fast because the paint's not super chunky. So that's the difference between having the acrylics dry fast and slow. If you make them chunky, then they'll dry really slow.
Got it.
You have a lot of white coming through.
Yeah, that's the point. Because when you go over with the contrast paints, the white ends up. It's kind of like when digital painting, digital coloring, you have all the gray tones and you go over it with the colors, and it comes.
So contrast paints are a little glossier, and since our paints aren't as glossy, the effect will be different.
Yeah, I'm liking the effect so far.
He says the whole thing with his brother getting Chaos Space Marines, he thinks it's hilarious because now he's head over heels for that. His head over heels for them, and he loves the lore for them and the connection of Horus and Abaddon.
Ah, that's pretty fun. And most of my Marines are armed in Chaos, in the Horus Heresy era armor, so that's got, and between that and our conversations.
Yours are Horus Heresy armor?
Yeah, the beakies you were telling me today, those are Horus Heresy.
No, I was just saying beakies existed during the Horus Heresy. The only reason I know that is that there's that Horus Heresy cinematic, and at the end of it, he's like walking over a pile of dead Space Marines, and a bunch of them are wearing beaky armors.
Right. Regardless,
between
helmets. That and the conversations I've had in the chat on my live streams, I'm definitely interested in the Horus Heresy now.
Well, they came out not too long ago with Horus Heresy as its own kind of setting, and people affectionately refer to it as Warhammer 40k because it takes place about 10,000 years before the events of 40k.
Oh, that's interesting.
And so a lot of the legions and stuff, it's pre-chapter, And so a lot of the legions would wear different color armors than they do in the current Imperium. The Age of Darkness box has all beaky armor. We'll need to look into that. He actually likes the beakies. I'm not the biggest fan of the look of beakies.
Yeah, reminds me of birds. I like birds.
I like to eat birds.
Well, who doesn't?
The vegans.
Of course they don't.
And vegetarians. But you know, not everyone needs to eat birds.
That is right, yeah.
Just talking about it really makes me want some fried chicken. Silver is a lot easier to paint to fake than gold.
Oh, definitely.
I feel like this guy's gonna take a lot longer to paint than Mort did for some reason.
I can see that.
He says the beaky armor is one of his favorites.
Huh. Nice.
I don't really know what armor is my favorite yet. There's things I like about each one, but I'm still not familiar enough with all the armors. I really like painting the chains on these guys. I love how the Black Templars have their weapons like chained to them. It's like the only way, like even in death, they're not going to let go of the weapon because they're chained in place. Mark III, Mark IV, and Mark VI. I can never remember which one is beaky. I know I really like Mark III a lot. And then there's one, I'll have to look it up. There's one of them I really like. I think that paint is going to be too thin down. There we go. I have a special place for the Mark II helmet. Just the helmet, because I don't know enough about the rest of it. In that Death Watch game I was in, when we created our characters, you got to choose like different traits and things for them. And my character started the game with a Mark II helmet. Mark VI is beaky. Thank you for clarifying that, because I would not have been able to, would not have known without looking it up otherwise. Yeah, so my character had a Mark II helmet, and I just thought it was a cool little helmet because it kind of looked like a knight's, an actual space knight helmet. When I made my mini, this one, when I made this one, I had ordered all the individual parts off eBay. Yeah, Mark II's the night looking ones. And the only thing I couldn't find was a Mark II helmet. And so I went in one day to my role-playing group and was showing them what I had, and one of the guys like, well, it's not a Mark II helmet, but I do have a Black Templar helmet if you want it. And he showed it to me, and I was like, oh, it's like, that would be cool. Thank you very much. And so my model has some other helmet on it. I don't know what one it is, but the actual character himself would have had a Mark II helmet. Man, hitting the details in these tiny places is a challenge. So Joseph, one thing you can do is if you get not too much water, just a little bit of water and put it in there, the paint will almost like spread itself around.
I have noticed that happen with other things.
I don't know how it's a good thing I'm not going to paint a whole army this way, because I don't know how long that would take. It'd probably take way, way too long. I'd never actually get to use the army.
Yeah.
That's true. He says, luckily for Black Templars, you go for just about any armor and they'd still look like knights.
That is true, yeah. From what little I do know.
How often do you get to actually like play the game Hollow, where you're playing against other people and stuff? Let's see, trying to get these details in here. The chains are so much fun. I just kind of like half dry brush all the chains in place. Okay, come on, you. There's a chain coming over top here, but it's being difficult. So an easy way to kind of dry brush is let it down and then just gently like split the brushes like this, the bristles, and pull them kind of across, and it will dry brush the edges. Just be careful because you could also mess the brush up if you're doing it that way.
Got it.
So his armor would be black. I forget, those can be other colors, right? Yes, the Templar logo can be red as well as black. Or silver things. I'll make it red so that it stands out. I just want most of the armor black. Thanks for asking me to do a stream tonight. I hadn't thought I'd be doing a stream this week, so I'm glad that I was able to get one in.
I'm happy I could do that for you.
Realized I haven't shown where I'm at with this thing for a bit, so once I get this in place, I will show where I'm at with this one. It's nice just to be able to talk Warhammer with people.
Yeah, and it's definitely helping me learn more about it. One of these days I'll just sit down and read the book I have to my right that I'm referencing for my painting.
The salamander ones?
Yes.
Here's where I'm kind of at with this thing. You're on the one with the chain sword. Which one? One of the ones we have here? The only one I see with a chain sword at the moment is Zeke's figurine. You don't have a chain sword one over there, do you?
Not on me, no.
This one I think is a power sword. You missed it, so I'm not really sure what he is. I guess he's a captain. I just didn't want to paint the Templar emblem black because well, the rest of the armor is black and I didn't want to lose it against the rest of the armor. But I know that I'll probably need captains for my army. The army, all those Black Templars that I ordered came in the mail today.
Some of these came from that, right?
Yeah, some of the ones that I gave you were from that set with like blank pauldrons and not really any Templar emblemery on them. I thought you could use them as salamanders.
Again, much appreciated.
This one is not coming along quite as well as Mort did. Oh well, I'll just keep going. You win some, you lose some.
And some you just don't know why you're at this place you're at.
I'm gonna hit this on with some liquidy paint, see if I can get a better effect on this chain. Yeah, I'm gonna do another video later. These are all firstborn, yes. You probably don't know what firstborn is, do you yet, Joseph?
Nope.
So, I believe it was after the events of the Horus Heresy, Robert Gilliman, who was the Primarch of the Ultramarines and also the author of the Codex Astartes, decided we need this to never happen again. And so he essentially charged one of the, was it a Tech Marine or the Ecclesiarch or someone, and said, hey, we need to figure out how to make our Space Marines stronger. And we need to take our Captain Americas and make them even Captain America-er. And so they created the Primaris Project, which came out not too long ago, but they're like upgraded Space Marines. And so the original Space Marines are referred to as the Firstborn, while the Primaris Marines are referred to as Primaris Marines.
Got it.
I really like the look of the Firstborns as well. Over Primaris, does that mean you don't like them, or over Primaris? He charged Bessarius Call of the Adeptus Mechanicus. That's right. I think what I'll end up having to do is go back and hit this chain again with a little bit of black to bring some of those details back in.
Right.
All right. I'm going to wait to make the Imperialis shiny. I want to hit some of these gaps in his armor. I don't currently have any Primaris Marines, but I did order a small number of them. They should be coming in the mail in the next few days, just because I wanted to see what they were like. Yeah, I like the Firstborns more. I mean, I like the idea of the Primaris Project, but I just like the appeal of the Firstborn Marines more. And I guess it just wasn't necessary as far as the lore goes. All right, let's hit some of these grooves down. Let's make that just a little shiny. Here's where I'm at with this guy to combat the Chaos Space Marines. That's right. Man, I have so much lore to catch up on.
You and me both.
I just ordered my first 9th edition Codex, which is the latest Black Templar one.
Nice.
Then he and I are both playing through, well, I guess that's what we were talking about the other night. Where we were talking was he was playing Dawn of War, but I've been playing that as well. It's both our first time playing that one.
Yeah. Having fun hearing some voice actors from our childhood in that game.
My favorite was the Beast Wars Dinobot. The Emperor's children gaining the powers, like the Death Guard gaining the power of Nurgle, and the Emperor's children gaining the powers of Slaanesh. And so I guess the Primaris was meant to get more power of the Emperor. I can practically hear a Marine being like, "We already bear the power of the Emperor. What is this heresy saying we need more of the Emperor's power?" 1,000 Suns gaining the power is Zinch, and the World Eaters getting the power of Corn. I forgot that the different legions, Chaos Legions, represented a different Chaos God. I'm definitely gonna have to go back with some black onto this one. He's becoming way too gray. That's all right. I'll keep making this work, and then I'll figure out what I'm doing next. Sometimes you just take a mistake and you just gotta roll with it. The Primaris Rubicon is just meant to enhance them further to help put them on an even playing field with the traders. Got it. That makes sense. You can see here I used too much water on this one. Sometimes I leave it though because it'll dry that way. Then when you paint over it again, it adds texture.
Good idea.
I want the sword to have texture. Okay, these layers of gray are finally starting to build up a little bit. I need to put that down for a moment. I keep staring at it and my eyes are like, it's like more gray. I'm like, no. Alright, I need to study this book for a moment. Alright, that guy does have a sword kind of like this one, and his armor does have those little things on the joints. Some scratched edge metal highlighting is an option. Okay, that is helpful. What color are these guys' backpacks typically? Looks like Primarily black as well. Okay, cool. So my future is more gray. I think I'm going to paint up the pauldron and then try to freehand one of these Black Templar logos.
Sounds good.
Sounds terrifying.
Ah. Okay, I don't understand what I'm saying then.
No. So, just like these logos that they have here, I'm going to try to freehand one.
Ah. Yeah, most people I see get water slide decals for that.
I've got a couple downstairs that have that, but you know, I have to risk ruining things, and so I'm going to freehand it.
Okay.
I kind of just want to go with the white and black pauldrons. Where is the brush I was using earlier? Is it this one sitting in the water? It is, okay. All right, time to paint some pauldrons because I'm tired of looking at gray. Or pure gray, that level of gray anyways. I'm going to do a very, very slight. I love this pose as well. He came that way, eBay find. But I saw it on the eBay listing and I was like, yep, I want that one. And he came with like 6 other guys and the shipping was free, so it's like, I'll take it. So I put just a very slight amount of gray in the white for the pauldron. That way when I take pure white later, I can hopefully still get that highlight effect.
Got it.
I might have used too much white on this one, but we'll find out when the time comes.
Okay. Before we do that. Okay, so white. This thing needs white.
Cut the back of his backpack with a little bit of that white. Turn it with a paper towel and see if I can get that before it dries. No, I'm just ruining it. Oh well. Have tempted just to snap the backpack off and then paint it or put it back on later. Oh, that explains why the backpack is. Whoever put the backpack on, it looks like they got a drop of super glue on the backpack, and so the backpack is partially permanently adhered to the pauldron. Okay, that makes it really hard to paint around, but we'll make do. I'll have to hit this with another layer in a moment because that white is not. I had too much water in it and it's not drying the way I would have liked. You can treat that as just like a thin layer and then come back and once that dries, but because it's got that much water in it, see, watch, I touch it and you can like see the water dancing.
I see.
It'll dry, it's just going to take a bit. No, don't do that. I touched it and it messed it up. You know what, forget it. Drying it off and using a thinner paint, or a thicker paint. I want the paint to dry faster. I don't want to sit there and wait for it. I don't have a lot of patience for things drying. And so even though I'm using a wet palette, I don't make my paints super watery. The main benefit I get from the wet palette is just keeping the acrylic paints wet longer, so I don't need as much of them. There we go, that's going on much nicer. Try that and pick up a little pocket of water somewhere. It's still a little wetter than I'd like, but it'll dry faster than it would have before.
That's good.
I'm going to let him sit there and dry for a little bit before I turn him around because I accidentally touch it. Again, I'm going to end up with a fingerprint shape on his pauldron. But I think he's coming along. Pretty nice. Why don't you talk for a bit while I take a small break.
Got it.
Of necessity.
Okay, talk. I guess I can talk about how the salamanders became my favorite. It just days, if not a week or two ago, my brother was he was looking up Space Marines, and he was trying to, and we were struggling with finding a Space Marine chapter that I would connect with, because being a grim dark setting and me not being a very grim darky kind of person, none of them were just really hitting me right. But then Sam sent me a video titled like I don't know if I'm paraphrasing the title, but it's essentially something like the closest thing to heroes in Warhammer40k, and I looked them up, and it was like, this is it. They may not be true 100% heroes, but compared to everyone else in the universe, they put their best foot forward a lot more than the others. Yeah, maybe I'm overselling it, underselling it, I'm not sure, but because of that, they just hit me. It just made sense that they would be my favorite. And so here I am painting up some salamanders now. So I'm hoping to the book I'm referencing, the Space Marine Codex is.
Yeah, I can show it.
Okay. Yeah, please try not to lose the page.
It's whatever.
Yes. Oh, that's not the book I was talking about, but yeah, that. One day I'll read that one too, but.
This is my salamander book.
Yeah, mine is a Space Marine book where it's the history of the Space Marine themselves, not a necessarily particular chapter.
Yeah, I had just the generic Codex Space Marine. I was able to snag another one online for like $8, and so I gave him this one, and then I'll have the other one when it gets here.
Yeah, so I'm hoping.
Salamanders literally, like he says, they'll literally die to protect a single human.
Yeah, so it's that sort of dedication to the common man is the reason they're my favorite chapter. And when I get the chance, I'm gonna read that Space Marine book cover to cover, and later on I'll borrow the Salamanders book to read that cover to cover. I would say I'm close to done. I don't know if I can say done, but I'm pretty close.
To be done for tonight?
I don't know about tonight, but just.
So I think you've got a decent base coat on most of them, and I think next steps is you should try to just choose one of them and try to take him all the way to like artistic salamander.
Got it.
So let me see if I can find a picture of what I mean by artistic salamander. this is a newer design. It's actually not the one I was thinking of. But see how right here they got like some edge highlighting and other things. And
Yeah, that's something that's what code 3 is for the slop shop method, is it put what's in those edged highlights. But clearly I didn't do well enough. Either that or it just doesn't show well.
Hollow says the thing about salamanders that's admirable is definitely their devotion to protect humanity and their use of flamers.
Yes.
I was reading something the other day. They were talking about how loving and caring the salamanders are, and how they'll be talking about memories with their families while they're standing there burning their enemies to death.
Yeah, and that's how you know they are indeed still a part of a grim, dark world.
Wrong brush. I think I'll go with the number 5/0 instead of a number 3 for the next pauldron. Actually, you know what? I'm going to hit this one with another coat. That color is not dark enough. Did you listen to that short story I sent you about the salamander who was there to oversee like the blessing of a baby or something like that?
That's actually the one I was talking to, the one that got me into salamanders.
Was I away while you were talking about that?
Yeah, but I didn't. But I just failed to mention the part about overseeing the baby and such.
Yeah, we found like it was just a little short story of a salamander, and he was there essentially for, I'm not even sure what it was, but it seemed like it was the equivalent of the christening of a baby, and so they presented the baby to him. And
he mentioned that the baby has the potential to one day become something greater.
yeah. I think the quote was, "He is strong, perhaps even strong enough for 2 hearts."
Yes, that is it.
I just pictured like the doctor from Doctor Who, like specifically like Matt Smith's like, you can't just add another heart to a human being or something like that. And Space Marine's like, mid-operation. Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that. They will literally do the whole reminisce thing. Like they'll be standing there roasting Eldar with their flamers. You know what the Eldar are now, right?
Yes, I fought against them in the last stream, 40k stream.
Space elves.
Yes.
From Space Rivendell.
And the one video I saw of them is they're responsible for birthing the 4th Chaos God.
Yes. I think they're responsible for birthing Slanesh.
Yeah, the one I think was like
Maybe.
like lust and
That's
gluttony. That's not, maybe not gluttony, but lust.
But lust is Slanesh.
Yeah. And hedonistic. Yeah, thank you. Hedonisticness.
I wish I could find it, but I saw like a piece of fan art the other day. It was like one of the Chaos Space Marines was talking to like a one of the loyal Space Marine, the loyalist, and he's like, "You should come join us. We have things that you don't." And he's like, "What could you possibly have that We don't have, and it was like a girl, Eldar, and he's like, I'll get my bags or something like that. Says not exactly lust.
Ah,
I think that's the word that they used in the video that we watched, and that's why we were thinking that one. Slanesh is the god of excess.
that makes sense, given the context of the video from what I can recall.
That makes sense.
Okay, that should be all their backpacks. Then I just need to pick out the skulls in the back.
It's interesting watching like the different ways we're approaching painting.
Yeah.
Because you're like definitely trying to get your army ready for use, and I'm like, I'm just in this for the artistic. And I can take my time until my army's ready to use, and then they'll all look beautifully painted. And you're like, nope, mine will be ready for use tonight.
Well, that's not how I started, but that's where it went.
I'm not sure exactly what the minimum. I know you can do. Like it's all point based, and I know you can use like a minimum of like 500 points for armies. But I'm still not sure how to point the armies. I haven't learned how to do that yet. Figured I'd paint up a few. I didn't have anyone to play with, and like I said, he just got these today, and so I figured, well, let's get these painted up, and then we'll figure out how to do pointing. I imagine. Does it have something to do with like the weapons they hold are worth certain points and things like that? And this one is not going as good as Mort. The white is a lot harder to control. I mean, that pauldron doesn't look horrible.
Could be. Yeah, it could be worse.
The acrylics smooth out as they dry, so. And then I've got this pauldron. It's starting to smooth out as the paint dries. And then I just did that pauldron, and it's coming along. Okay, let's see. Back at it. Still got a little bit of white on this brush. I think now is a good time to hit the Imperialis with some of that excess white. He's got a little skull on his belt. It's like our hands are just like juggling back and forth. Whose turn is it to get the paint?
Kind of gotten good at stopping and going as we go.
You know, it's kind of because impressionistic painting is very like broad strokes and things like that. It's kind of fun to work on these because it's complete opposite. It's like tiny details, and
Yeah.
tempted to get and keep a pair of scissors in my brushes, or where I keep my brushes, so I can cut off some of these excess tips and stuff. I'm gonna go change the tip of this brush. I'll be right back. Remember, where there's a pair of scissors, that's really good.
Oh, that's pretty good. Okay. That was quick.
My wife's sewing scissors. The little ones.
Yeah, my sewing scissors are elsewhere.
There, I just turned that into a nice flat tipped brush. Look at that.
Nice.
Turn it lengthwise, you get a broad stroke, you turn it longwise, you get a thin one.
Now let's see if I can do something with these guns before I call it.
I hit too much white on that. Oh well. You won't mistake what it is, that's for sure. That's actually working really well with the brush changed like that.
Oh, he has one on his hand. I'll have to pick that
But
up.
that's really bringing out that Imperialis.
Nice.
Just a teensy bit more of that white. That's too much white. See if we can strip some of that back off. I'm sure as we talk, the fact that we don't know too much about 40k comes out pretty obviously.
Yeah.
But we're both very excited to learn more about it.
Definitely.
It's easily one of the coolest universes I've ever come across.
Yeah.
Okay, very gentle now. And that did not go the way I wanted. So see, this is what I meant, like, if you use just a little bit of water, it can behave like contrast paint. You see what that's doing right there?
Oh, yeah.
It just fills those cracks in. Very gentle, very gentle. All right, almost ready to show where I'm at with him. There, I was able to get some of those little details in place and kind of around the arms. The modified brush kind of let me gently bristle across some of those ridged areas.
You have that.
You gonna pick that one up artistically first?
Maybe.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know if he's a captain or a lieutenant, but whatever he is, he's gonna show up to the battlefield and people can be like, hey, you're looking pretty nice there today. Why'd you wear your nice armor? It's like, I always wear my nice armor. I am on the Emperor's battlefield. I will wear my nice armor. Let's get some of this sword. It's hard enough to remember, like, hold this where people can see it at the start, and by the end, I'm like completely forgetting. But it is fun, like, even if I forget, to just hang out and visit with people.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot talking to Hollow. He wants to see the salamander with the shield.
No. Okay, here he is. Let's see if I can get him in the shot now.
You might just want to drop him on the table for. Oh, there you go, that works.
Yeah,
All right,
this
turn.
is... Okay.
Yeah, he's coming along.
Yeah. I really liking all of these guys, and I think the one that's not a beaky really adds to the group, being the odd one out in that regard.
You gonna name them all or anything? I'm notorious for like just wanting to name everything and everyone. So every single Marine in my army is gonna have a name.
Yeah, thank you. I'm liking how it's coming out. But yeah, and as for this, as for naming them, it would definitely be it is definitely tempting. Don't know what I name them. I'd probably have to sit down and brainstorm.
Yeah, some of these models I managed to get off eBay just were really cool. And you're lucky I'm not one of those brothers who's like, I'm gonna keep all the good models and just give you the crappy ones.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I want to see good models on both sides of the field during battle. It makes the battle more exciting. Alright, time to get some more details in this chain. I'm really glad I modified this brush. This is going a lot better. Just a little more red. I'm going to add a few more details to this chain and then I'll show with that. It's challenging not to just want to like dry brush everything.
Yeah. I know what you mean. But yeah. No, I'm definitely, yeah, so just got as far as I could with all of them without being artistic, so I'm gonna need some pointers in that regard.
To be fair, all models look good. When they're painted, they always look good. You know, that...
Yeah, I appreciate that.
There's something just very satisfying about a painted model.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you even got the eyes in there.
Yep.
Very nice.
Thank you.
All right, I need
This one.
to paint the red on his sword.
Yeah, but
Around the handle. Yeah, I'll need to figure out if this guy's a captain or a lieutenant or something.
or dare we say it, a general.
No, he's definitely not a general.
I figured. I don't know enough about the ranking system in this world to make that assumption without being playful.
His armor is not extravagant enough.
Ah, that sort of thing, eh?
Well, did you see in the Salamanders page where like some of the higher ranking ones wearing like this really nice
I shall go take a look.
armor? If you still have that reference page open, you should be able to just peek over.
Okay, just need to
But that's not unique to their chapter.
I figured.
A lot of leaders will have like some really, really nice looking armor.
Okay. Like this guy?
Yeah, or
That
you and these guys. Just turn a few pages, you'll see what I mean. They have whole pages on the leadership.
there. Other way, I guess.
Yeah, sorry, I pretty much put you at the end of the book right there.
You're fine. Oh. Like this guy is something else. Vulcan Hasten.
Vulcan, is that the Primarch there?
Maybe, but just his getup, it's like that's just something else.
So I know the Primarch is named Vulcan. I know I'm still fairly new to 40k, but they've got their open submission
Oh yeah, I was meaning to
for
look
Black
at that.
Library at the moment, and I was thinking maybe I'd submit a little 500 word submission to that. Seems like it's not for full novels, it's just more for like short stories that they're taking at the moment.
Sounds fun. Definitely need to put this 3D printed guy on a base, just so I can sit him down and he doesn't fall over.
Once we get the printer going again, I'm going to start printing some bases.
That'll be good. It's like yeah, I know I'm not gonna play with this guy, but I'd like to display him in a good spot.
All right, here goes nothing. I am about. Yeah, he was looking through the Salamanders book and he saw Vulcan, is it Histon? And was like, oh, look at this guy. I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's your Primarch.
Yeah, so I was just looking for examples of high-ranking guys with extravagant armor, and his just stood out to me.
Well, it should. Bow before your Primarch.
Bow, bow.
All right, time to see if I can freehand this Templar symbol on this other
Speaking of-
shoulder.
Need to take a look at him. Okay, on one side it's the dragon-looking thing. I'm definitely not gonna try and freehand that.
I think I'll just try to do the basic shape rather than put like the skull in the middle and things like that.
Ah, here.
And I already messed up. Oh well.
So it's a dragon symbol and this flame with a number symbol. So
Usually the flame with the number has to do with the squad, and then like the dragon symbol is the actual chapter symbol.
yeah. I see.
I'm gonna need to get some like red microns for this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Vulcan and Vulcan Hasten are different people.
Okay, so that's good to know. Man, this symbol is a challenge.
little much, but there we go.
It's not too bad.
It's confusing, but it's similar to the whole horse and horse. There's like some situation.
Horus Aximon situation, except with that they just call Aximon Little Horus. It sounds like it's probably like a successor who kind of takes the name as well in honor of the person. That would be my guess, just basing off what all I know at this very moment.
Yeah, it would make sense.
Little Horse. That just sounds like
Native American.
no, not endearingly insulting. Like I can picture his squad like obeying him while at the same time they're just like, yes, little horse. Of course, little horse.
As you wish, little horse.
Yeah. Little Horse is actually one of the most respected members of Horus's army, with him being part of the Mourningful. No, that's neat. So he was not insulted, even though they call him little. It was actually
A badge of honor.
it would have to be a badge of honor if they're going to refer to him by Horus on any level, I imagine.
I can see that.
All right, a little bit of black.
She
No. Careful not to rock the table.
Oh, sorry.
I'm doing some detail work here.
Oh.
I'll lift my hands up off the table for a second. A little bit more black. Right, just a little bit of water. The Mourningful group was a group of 4, and it was Horus's hand-picked generals during the time of the Great Crusade before he got corrupted. And it was made up of Aximond, Torgotin, Loken, and Abaddon. Okay. This might be one of the most intense things I've ever painted. Just this little dealie here. I decided to Just see how close I could get to the full thing. Okay. I may never paint one of these again. One of these symbols, I mean.
I know what you mean.
Okay. A couple of dots for eyes. Let's get my elbows back up off the table. I'm intentionally not showing where I am just yet.
Got it.
All right. Let's see if that is visible.
You like have to put it right in front of the lens.
There's my best attempt at freehanding that logo or emblem. I guess it's an emblem. Which one of those is the actual camera?
I think they're all cameras because it's designed to like capture a picture in different dimensions.
Good point. Good point. Yeah, that I don't want to freehand any more of those for a while. Thank you. That was hard.
Take a picture of these guys.
If I do ever do that again, I think I'm going to use a like a pen instead of a paintbrush.
One without the flash.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you. I feel really good about that.
Really like how these guys came out.
You know, for your first Warhammer models ever painted, I think those look pretty good. You're only going to get better from there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And I don't plan to just stop at Warhammer models. I plan to make videos on my non-gaming YouTube channel using gaming miniatures to tell stories as well. And even on the gaming channel, as I recount tales of tabletop RPGs I've run or played in the past using minis.
All right, time to do some of this edge highlighting. Try to give it a little bit of a battle damage. Look.
This way. A bit of bonus content. Actually, no, never mind. Save that for another time.
Right, I need to put a little bit of black in there. Since he doesn't think he could ever do that, he's just gonna have to do water transfers.
Yeah.
I will probably mostly do water transfers. I just never done one of those before, and so I wanted to see how exactly it would go if I tried.
And now we know.
It wasn't too bad, actually. Just a little time consuming. But yeah, it wasn't bad. I didn't mind it. All right. He's got these almost like pipe things on his mask. I don't want those to be black because it's an opportunity to get a little bit of detail. And so let's try making those gray. Don't normally use my finger to do detailing, but okay. Just a little bit of edge detailing on this right here. I'm getting tired.
Yeah, it is pretty late. But yeah, first thing I do with these guys is I'm gonna take them to the room and just put them on right next to my computer setup.
You can go do some glamour shots of them.
I don't know if I'll do glamour shots, but I did take a couple of shots just now to put on my community tab. You know what? I can probably do that right now while you're doing that. Create post.
Right, getting some edge highlighting on him. Just kind of going for kind of a torn up metal mid-battle look on him.
Ah.
I figure with all that black, that's probably the best thing to go for. Is just try to make his armor look worn or lived in.
Right.
What story am I trying to tell with his armor? I guess. Sorry.
You're fine.
All right, I think just put in a couple of little, very, very, very little edge highlighting. And then I might just, then the eyes, and I think I'll probably be just about done with this guy.
Yeah.
I'm shaking the chair.
Oh, sorry. Just me stemming.
All right, get those eyes in there. Okay, here we go again. The challenge of eyes. Okay. Oops.
You're fine.
You just kind of have them where my elbow goes when I bring it back down.
I'll just push them forward.
Perfect. What do you think? Blood splatter on the sword?
Blood splatter on the sword.
Let's get this back emblem first, though, that I completely missed.
No. If we had an old toothbrush, we could probably use that to splatter the blood.
If I had an old toothbrush, that's exactly what I'd use. That's all right. I'll make do.
Well, yeah. Okay. As a kind of heads up on my channel, I know the next FGO event, it's, if I'm looking at if I understood the wiki right, the next event should be not long after the current event ends, and it's this Tengu event with this assassin welfare servant, I believe. So I'm definitely gonna try and get prepared for that event. But until then, I'm definitely gonna try and stream more Warhammer 40k and try and get some more regular videos up to the. I'm definitely trying to figure out a good work schedule for the channel. And about next week or the week after that, there will be a few days I won't be working on the channel, so I'll just have a few videos upload from the schedule feature. So that's something to keep in mind when that happens. But yeah, otherwise, it'll definitely be good to figure out a good work schedule, and it'll be nice to play other games in between FGO events.
Just a little bit of blood splatter on the corner over here, I think. Maybe a little bit of, instead of edge highlighting on this white pauldron, I'm just going to have a little bit of.
Yes, that is right. In the next FGO event, the Avenger Ushiar Tiara, I think she's also called, is coming out during that event.
A little bit of blood on the Imperialis and on the skull right here. A little bit of blood on the chain.
Yeah. Definitely, unless they surprise us with an American original banner with King Hassan on it, I'm definitely saving my quartz for Clan Sokka of Light.
Yeah, you said the name pretty much correctly that time.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. Yeah, so that was pretty much the update on my channel's state and the direction it's going to try and go in. How about your channel? What do you have planned for yours?
Mostly, I won't be streaming too often because it's really hard to balance the streaming with my day job. And so I will probably mostly do some pre-recorded videos, but I'm planning to do some drawings of the character, some of the characters from my world, and maybe some concept designs next, of what I want things to look like.
Yeah, I would like to roll for Morgan, but my main focus this year is going Sokka of Light and Oberon, but if I have quartz left over after rolling those two, depending on when she comes out, between or after one of them, then I'll try and roll for her. But yeah, I've seen how she works, and me being and Berserker being my favorite class, she's just one I would really like to add to my ever-growing list of Berserkers. So I'm hoping one day I'll be able to add her, and I'm hoping it won't. That's my when she comes out with the message of
All right, there is my, that was not the harm to end stream, it's just kind of working out that way. There's my, this guy, that's his name, this guy, for now. I kind of like how he turned out. Looks like he's been fighting some people and quite enjoying himself. So there's my two guys for tonight, Mort and I don't know. But that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I
like your salamanders.
Yeah, during the stream I took a picture of them and posted their picture on my community tab. So if you want to go over there to get a better look at them, they're right there to look at.
I'll be posting mine on my community tab here in the next little bit as well. Thank you. I really liked how that turned out.
Yeah.
I was trying to just get it all over where I could without making it overwhelming. But anyways, thank you for hanging out with us. It was a lot of fun talking to you again.
Yes.
And-
Look forward to seeing you on more of my streams.
And anyone else that joined us, thank you very much for joining as well. Really appreciate it. Have a good night, and look forward to visiting again soon.
All right. Bye, everyone.